situation. That is why you see some people, what is stressful to others, they will not find it stressful. Your perception of situation. Some people, one little thing, they will say, hey, Mumadano, hey, Wala, Lilio. Now, such a reaction to stress is very debilitating. Such a reaction to situation. But when you bring up yourself up to the point that even in the worst case scenario, you say, okay, no problem. Tell me about. In fact, when it appears that there's no way for you to counter the stress, just be telling yourself, it is a miracle can still happen. You understand? Well, I can still find it. It's not the end of the world yet. By the time you begin to do that, your reaction to that stressful situation will not be as strong, and so it will not affect you. And that's why your belief in God is important. When something tragic happens to you as a Christian, rather than say, just quickly think that, well, I know my Redeemer liveth. The moment you can remember that, that calms you. Isaiah chapter 43, it says, when you pass through the fire, it did not say if you pass through the fire. So when you have an experience that is not good, that is tragic, just console yourself by saying that, well, Jesus said, in this world, we have tribulations. But you should be of good cheer. God has overcome the world. At times, it is not the situation that affects people. It is their response to the situation. The way you respond to that situation. See, if you fail, and some people fail the exam, and because of that they will take ill, they will fall sick. Why? You should remember, my prisoner in secondary school will tell us that he took Cambridge 10 times and 13 times before he eventually passed. So if you fail once, you should at least tell yourself, well, we had people who failed 13 times but they still passed. Jamie, I've only failed once, but the next one, I won't fail. Preach to yourself. Tell yourself that situation is not the end of the world. The moment you can able to do that, your reaction to stress will be more positive. Now, what are the forms of stress? I've mentioned that in passing. We have what we call distress. That's the negative stress. Characterized by being overwhelmed, oppressed, or this feeling of out of control. That look, I'm not even in control of my life. That is distress. That is the negative aspect of stress. We have the eustress, which I said is positive. A positive view of an event or situation is also called good stress. It will help you to rise to a challenge because it engages focused energy. But today we are emphasizing on the negative aspect of stress. Stress again could be acute, it could be chronic. When we talk of acute stress, it is typically intense, comes suddenly, and may also disappear quickly. Probably they just told that, they've compiled a list of people that are going to sack in the office. Your name is there. The moment you hear that, if you've been fasting for 2 days and you wanted to break your fast, you lose appetite. That's acute stress. Let's say, your body will begin to generate it. When just leave me. When you get home and your wife says, your next response is that's acute stress. Typically intense because within 24 hours people begin to ask what is the problem. But if you get to the office the following day and they praise the name of the people they're going to sack and your name is not there, and you see your name that you have actually been promoted to take over from one of your seniors that was sacked, what happens to that stress? It comes down. That is acute stress. And stress can also be chronic. Chronic stress may not be that intense immediately. It can linger indefinitely, and that is more dangerous. And that is why some people are referred to as living with stress. The woman I talked to you about earlier was living with stress because for years she's been following that pattern of behavior. That is chronic stress. You see, the danger about chronic stress is that you may not easily see the manifestation. And before you begin to notice that you're operating under stress, you can have caused a lot of damage, even to your physical health. Clingers wreak silent havoc on the body system. You see, stress. When people say they have ulcer can be stress induced. Because you are always tense, you don't have appetite and all of that. And of course, the body will continue to secrete your milk, hormone that is supposed to digest food. And when there's no food to digest, it will begin to erode the lining of your intestine. God will help me today because I don't want to go into the physiology of stress. Or the jargons of stress. I want to keep it as simple so that even my grandmother, who is in the grave now, can also understand. So when the hormones are secreted, they will erode the lining of the intestine. And when they erode that, that is what they call ulcer. Ulcer is nothing more than wound. Wound means ego. That's why you call it ogbenu. And you know the danger there is that you can dress it another, but on the inside, all of every bandage you see. And the moment you sustain that, and that is why ulcer is very, very common amongst top executives, bank managers, directors. In fact, you know what they call their own kind of stress? They call it executive stress. That's the name it is called, executive stress. Because they have all the money in the world, but the pressure under which they work, deadlines here, meetings here, so the body is reacting. In fact, stress is the body's reaction to some other things. So the body begins to react. That's why you enter a manager's office. In his private toilet, he has antacid. He has jealousy. In his car, he must have everywhere. In his bedroom, he has. In his toilet, he has. He be thinking about him, not much to send him. When they say people have hypertension, the basis of hypertension usually is stress. Stress no matter ko ronu, if I be ronu, ever mean you are doing me there. Ma be no be stress down that day. Oh, eketo so je eketo she mo Praise the Lord. Of course, if someone is doing like that, but this fellow is operating some stress, and that's why I pity women a lot. You know, men, when you come back from the office, you put your leg on the table. The woman also went to the office. The two of you came back from the office. But as soon as you enter, you pull your shirt and all that. You shower, you come into the sitting room, put your feet on the table, and begin to watch television, African Magic. And your wife, as she entered, she headed straight into the kitchen. Kitchen, yellow, I'm going to my bamboo bag. Lost in the yara. I'm on fila on the yara. Can you cook it? Mommy, you are going. If it's a mama, buying that out of shape, you come. Stress. Now, what are the causes of stress? I'll talk of 3 general categories, then I'll talk of some minor things. The unsettling effect of change. Other internal changes or external changes can bring about stress. Relocation can bring about stress. If you just pack to your house, within the first 2 weeks, you are not going to get yourself. All those things you packed, so you are going to be under stress because of that change. If you change your environment, you are going to be under stress to acclimatize to the environment. So if you don't undo that change very properly, then you may develop chronic stress. So that's the first category. The second category is the feeling that an outside force is challenging or threatening you. When you begin to feel that, look, something from the outside is the one controlling me, any control over life. Other external forces are controlling me. When you begin to have that feeling, it is stressful. Feeling that you don't have control, other external feelings are controlling you. The third one is the loss of personal control. When you cannot even take a decision on your own, you are just confused. These are 3 major causes of stress. Then when we begin to look at specific causes of stress now, if you are on your own in a new environment, it is stressful. For those who have opportunity to travel out, beloved, realize that when you get into a new environment, and if it's an environment where English is not the first language, you are going to be under very serious stress. I've been under very serious stress because we are talking to this fellow. Many of us who claim to understand English language, when we travel to this country, we just realize we don't understand English language. I mean, 2012 I was on the research fellowship to South Africa. I bought my line when I got to the airport and all that. So when I got to the campus, I needed to recharge. So I went to this guy, to this kiosk. I said, I want to buy recharge card. What? Recharge card. Huh? Recharge card. And I was becoming frustrated. I had to bring out my phone. And I'm a card. Oh! I mean, because it wasn't calling that they're calling what they call it again. You know what I mean? Voucher. I want to buy voucher. I said, what do you know? You know, so when you find yourself in a new environment, it will be a very stressful situation. But if when you are going, you make up your mind that where I'm going, I'm likely to face challenges. When you prepare yourself, by the time you get there, you will still meet these challenges, but you realize that you adapt more easily. New environment. I posted on Facebook from South Africa. I said, I'm tired. He said, for 3 months, I've not seen palm oil. The following day, brethren in the church came with a bottle of palm. I said, Pastor, I said, God bless you, man. These are stressful things that can make someone to say, I'm coming back. A professor of medicine traveled out to South Africa again. And when he saw gadgets that they were using, he cut down his sabbatical. He said he was not doing travel. He came back home. He said, look at my age, I cannot begin to learn to use all those things. That was stress. The stress was stressing for him. He had to take a decision to relocate and come back home. Changes in family relations can also lead to stress. All right. My challenge will be, can you reverse stress? Tell me that so I can. Well, I see me, and they can prepare. Tell you about clone if you don't pay to call us for me. Only five fire. So the Jacob Combale, I live for Combale. I see me, I told Dawala Lesara. Tori, if you don't share a day, or to have a coach to more. The fact that you wake up in the morning and there's no one to greet you is stressful. I was on the university campus in South Africa one day and I was going to a seminar, I didn't know the room. So I saw one young man. He said, excuse me, can you direct me? I said, excuse me, you have good money. Please can you direct me to so? I said, come with me. He said, excuse me, are you a Ghanaian? I said, no. He said, I'm a Nigerian. He said, no wonder. I said, why? He said, these people here, they are this, they are that, they don't have home training, they don't have respect. He said, I'm from Cameroon. He said, I'm running a page here, and I made up my mind, the day I defend my page, I'm going to leave this country. I look at the man, he was frustrated. He said, these people don't greet. Can you just imagine that? That is one of the things giving him stress in that environment. Don't greet. The woman was in Tamil one day, she has stayed in UK for a long time. He said, what do you miss most about Nigeria? He said, what I miss most about Nigeria is that he said, here people don't greet. He said, even when you fall down at the bus stop, they will just walk by. He said, I trust Nigeria. I want to ask how they be a Those are issues that can bring about stress. Financial responsibilities. Financial responsibilities can also cause stress. I low. Everyone will talk about Yoruba so. Money I low. Baba Ijaya ni. Èèyàn tó bá lọ sí bẹ́ẹ̀ tó bá sùn láì lówó lọ́wọ́ tí ọmọ táwọn ọmọ máa jẹ lọ sùkúlù ọjọ́ kejì kò lè rọrùn sùn. So financial responsibilities. Like give you another instance. There's an elderly man. When we were in Breakthrough Odiferu, the present headquarters of Province 6, I was there as an altar minister very many years ago. And there was this elderly couple who joined the church, took them, and workers in training took them, and so we became very close. When the man was 60, about 60, he had to retire from public service. By then I had moved away from Odife Road and moved to you and all that. So one day the wife called me and said, Daddy will help. So I went to see him. By the time I went to see him, they had discharged from the hospital and all that. So the man told me, said, Pastor, I did not sleep for 40 days. They gave him all manner of injection. They gave him all manner. He said, and this couple, very prayerful couple. He said at the point he told the wife, Mommy, I pray. The wife said, Daddy, you will pray more. Now, when I began to talk to him, I discovered what took him to that position. His last son, the last child, was in medical school. Other children are out of school. But he had children of family members that was giving money to go to school, university education and all that. And his concern was that pension does not come out on time in Nigeria. How do I maintain my family? How do I feed my wife, my son in medical school, and all these people who are looking on to me? That problem, Babani. And that short. Prior to that time, he never had hypertension. He had hypertension very seriously. He was hospitalized. For 40 days, he did not blink his eyes. So when I got there, he had 3 sets of instruments to measure, to monitor his BP. So I said, Daddy, let's stop. He said, well, you're over 60 now. So if you die now, we'll do party. I said, sir, but let me tell you something. So the glory of God is another element that respects my opinion and all that. I said, if you die today, your first son, that's your last son, you will finish and graduate as a medical doctor. You will get to wherever God wants to take you to. I said, those other children you give money to, and you are sending to school. If you die today, another person will send them to school. They will graduate, and you will have lost everything. I said, the mistake you are making, Daddy, is that what you've been able to do all these years has been by your power and not by God. I said, that is a mistake. And that's why we are thinking, if I retire now, now you want to die before your time. So I spoke to him, I spoke to him a lot. I said, leave it to God. And God to control. So and the wife came to me and said, thank God for the way you spoke to me. Today, that last son, I think he has completed his residency. He's a consultant now at Psychiatry Hospital, Yaba, Lagos. The one they call Yaba, Apausi. If the man had died because of financial responsibility, the war will still go on. In my own house, my wife knows my reaction. When I say, combine leg, my reaction will say, no problem. God will provide. And then God will provide. If God will not provide, who will provide? God will provide. So, financial issue is actually a major source of stress. Changes in your social life, when they are changing your social life, can also cause you stress. You know, promotion can give you stress. Promotion can give you stress. When you move into your personal house, your social level will change. That's additional stress. Stress within that house, because now you have to maintain that house. I tell people, I said, look, in Nigeria, I don't even think building is a good investment. The day you build that building, you move into that building is not bringing money to you, is it? But every day you spend on that building, so me, I will tell you, if I finish building the house, I can rent it out. So when you move to your house, you become a landlord, your social status has changed. And that day, your responsibility will become higher. God, those who did not see you before will begin to see you. They will begin to send more people to you from the village. That will give you additional stress. Now you have to attend landlord meeting and contribute. Who are the tokens so as parent, you need to contribute that now. So that's another cause of stress. Exposure to new people, ideas, and temptations. Temptations are always there, here and there. New ideas. Your phone is a new idea. It's a source of stress. There was a time I had to delete myself from WhatsApp. I said, I said, WhatsApp is bringing a lot of stress into my life. before now, my data will always be on 24/7. So every time there will be beep. One email, beep, 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 stress. So what do I do now? I switch off my data. In fact, my subscription, by 9 a.m. at night, I switch it on to check my mail and reply to my mails. Switch off again. 6 a.m. switch it on again. Check my mail. Respond to my mail. I only switch on my data in the afternoon if I needed to do something that is very crucial. And many of us, the phone is a source of stress to us. But many people here, you don't switch on your phone. Even at night, extra cool. They know all the packages. So when they wake up in the morning, because your iPad, your phone, everything is a source of stress to you. Do you know phone is causing issues among husbands and wives? And the woman becomes irritated. The same thing with the man. So you introduce stress into your marriage by reason of your phone and your iPad. So I had to do all this that look, I have a lot of stress enough. There are times my phone will ring, it will seem as if I should smash it on that long pain. I had someone on the phone last week. I didn't react. I was single. But after that, I said, "Kilo Sheni, I might just come because so that's an abuse. Now you are adding to my stress. Don't. You want to call. It must be because you have something important. Oh, important. You want it pops me to fair. So these are sources of stress. All these minor things are actually sources of stress. You are sleeping. Your phone is by your head. Every peep you wake up. Every peep you wake up. Every peep you wake up. By the time you wake up in the morning, you are tired. You are not going to be as agile as you are going to be because you do not have a sound sleep overnight. So you get to office, you are irritable. Exposure to traumatic experiences can also be stressful. Or maybe you've been victims of armed robbery attack. You be a direct victim or indirect victim. These are also experiences that can precipitate stress. So each time you hear banger, boom. Unregulated or poorly regulated church programs. Unregulated and poorly regulated church program. Pastors, we are guilty of this. Program. Must come. Program. If they come, all no go, they come and meditate. Program. And we've been losing people. We've been losing pastors because of programs. Just like a month and a half ago, one of our promises. That was why I said death is not a respect of anointing. The pastor was invited to come and minister at a morning program. He slumped on the altar. Program there. We lost one of our pastors. Okay, my pastor said, we know, in 3 days. CGOs. Went to the camp. And they will fast, they will pray, they are very hardworking. He slumped at the camp. He was revived. He drove himself, you remember, all the way from the camp back to Ibadan after the program. To Shebichi. Got to Ibadan, he slumped and died. She stressed me. When I was a youth, we were still under bone at that time. Our youth president, your friend, our friend, he called an area youth vigil. 7 days vigil. At the Ije, Macron Ring Road, Malotich UI, I called him. I was parish president. Our president in my parish. He was area president. Was Bolwale. I said, come. If you want to kill your own youth, I won't kill my own youth. Of course, let me tell you something. Anybody has the right to want to kill you, but you have the right to say no. So I told him, I said, okay, I said, don't you ever call for a 7-day vigil. You won't see. I said you won't see my youth. Call it whatever you want to call it. How can you call people for 7 days vigil, and when they wake up the following morning, they are going to their offices? One day vigil go to Jelara. 7 days. You know all this when you open your radio and television now. Temango Abori okay. 40 days 40 days vigil. Can you come vigil? Melo no one to live up to 70 years. How many of them? Abori okay today. Abori okay jade. Abori okay today. 14 days vigil, 40 days vigil, 100 days vigil with fasting. You know, program in church, program is good, but let the program be focused. And don't let it be unregulated. If I call my people for 3 days program, I won't finish that 3 day program and call them for another 7 days program immediately. No. And that's why a lot of pastors are living under stress because they are putting themselves under stress, a lot of stress. Any church I get to, I'll call the ministers. I'll call them. I say, I want to make some statement to you. I said, number one, I'm not a full-timer. What is that telling you? That is telling you that all of us were into this work together. Don't think I really want to teach the lead prayer and faith clinic. Come and teach on Sunday. No, enough. No? We'll make roster. I will preach one Sunday in a month. That's it. Thanksgiving Sunday. Except Sobajajem all of you are also pastors. Everybody. Maybe I do my digging deep. Maybe I will teach digging deep maybe 1 in 3 months or even 1 in 6 months. You are pastors now. Some of you know more than myself. I don't want to die. Listen. If a pastor in charge of a parish dies near less Saturday morning to Sunday, he redeem will hold service in the church that same day. The pastor in charge, if he dies, we will hold the service that day. Money to church. So to I must be there. Church. Why do you want to kill yourself? This work will continue. This work will continue. So I'll tell them I'm a part-timer. I have to go and resume in UI. I'm not found one thing over there. So here we are all going to do it together. If you don't do it, I'll punish you. So all of us will have to do it. Now, even full-timers, well, especially for those ones who know what they are doing. Many of them stress themselves a lot. I had one of my former area pastor, maybe Samuel, who bow a titi to ya eje. Tell you like oh just suffer kwe. Sir? Don't there be. And you know the fun thing about pastor. What pastors don't know? Your congregation. When they transferred that my pastor, I was no longer in that parish. Someone very close to me, she came and said, Pastor, don't you before here? Ogbono, only doors and no introduce as well. What's your deliverance? I don't know about the pastor and she mistake. He just want to introduce the deliverance. No, two and 20 silent. No what happened? That our friend, the daughter took ill. Rushed her to UCH. She called me, I went to UCH. And that was her first child. Eventually, she lost that child. When we went to greet her after the whole thing had passed, you know what he said? He said, Pastor, why you anointing? Pastor David Samuel, can't pull the way. On our way home, I called my wife. Ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ọjọ́ ẹ òun ló sọ fún wa pé pásítọ̀ ìpá náà ti ààrẹ ti Jésù tó. Tí wọ́n bá fi odidi ọmọ tí wọ́n bá fi dá ìdá mẹ́wàá nǹkan tí Jésù àṣẹ Jésù àṣẹ. What Jesus will do is all Jesus will do. He will use a whole child, your child, as tithes. What Jesus will do. So we have to regulate our activities. Thank you, sir. We have to regulate even church activities. Difficulty at work also is another thing. Unemployment can also cause stress. Bereavement can also cause stress. Now, what are the signs and symptoms of stress? The things that will happen to you, got to my share to have and stress. When you begin to have constant headaches, and when you treat malaria, malaria, typhoid, but you're having constant headache, could be an indication that you're under stress. Or pains in the body, joint pains and all that. Or sleep disturbance. Oye wala lataro. Oye ko osu. Odori bed no osu. Oyi kiri no ni. O de lowo lo ko se pe o lowo lowo. Oúnjẹ wà nílé. Stress. You begin to experience what they call insomnia. Insomnia, difficulty getting asleep, or not being able to sleep very well. And at times, some people may react to stress in another way. They will not be sleepy. That is his own coping mechanism with masu. Then gastrointestinal problems, stomach upset, indigestion, diarrhea. Now, if I'm under stress, one of the things I will usually notice that I pay moja and go just be going to toilet, passing water stream. The moment Timothy got toilet and let malaria, this is stress. So I need to slow down. Anxiety. You're always anxious. That's a sign of stress. Anger, irritability, you got to go be a noti be a no. Travel now, for that they come okay. A would have look back in the sea. Angry. You know what is how to know that a man is under stress when the wife begins to say, the wife is telling to the children, what did they say about him? Or the children will go to them and say, according to the belly. You are irritable. You got to begin to react. Then depression. You have to have a sign of depression. It's a sign of stress. When you are depressed for no just cause. Your work is doing well, you're doing well, but you are just depressed. It could be because you're under stress. Fatigue. When you get tired easily, because you are under stress. Let me just move on from there. Well, low self-esteem, high blood pressure, sexual problems. It's a sign of stress. We will let you say it is true. Someone was sharing with us about 3 weeks ago. We say, say I had to rest. I said, closely. He's not even a Christian. He said, as a man, he said, I went to Abuja. I wanted to do my Olapegba work. They still carry me. He said, I could not do anything. He said, I now got to my house with my wife. I could not get it up. He said, I'm finished. It was stress because I know the schedule the guy was running. So at times, a man, when you are too stressed, you won't be able to perform your conjugal responsibility. And that is another source of stress. Because the woman begins to look at you, was a kidney or a kg. Now daddy will tell she will lash over. But not to call you, that is too he. The woman begins to say, where I want to because don't set to around it. That's the beginning of another stress. So that is why you have to balance it. You see, there's something that is called work balance. Family balance. You have to balance your work life and your family life. If you are too stressed in your place of work, it will affect your family life. And pastors will know the issues that sex, problems that sex is causing. Even in the church, even among pastors. And even with the woman, when the woman is too stressed, when daddy comes and says, how are you, man? And now begins to look at it, am I not licensed? You know, it is not the woman's fault. It is because of the stress. And that is why you find a whole lot of divorce amongst the executives, especially career women. They are always very busy in the office, going here. By the time they come back home at night, they are worn. In fact, she's on the bed. She's thinking of another management meeting tomorrow morning. She had to make presentation. So she's constantly under stress. And so that will affect the relationship with the husband. Then for those who smoke and drink, stress can lead to increased smoking or alcohol consumption. A person was under stress sometimes ago. I know you very closely. And at the point I realized that, look, when I sat in my office, I'll be perceiving cigarettes. I was smelling cigarette smoke. I began to look around. Then I said, look, my office is on the first floor. I will look through the window, nobody is smoking there. So I began to realize that each time I perceive that smell, this my colleague's office is always low. And on a couple of occasions, I've met him on the corridor that will not wait to just again and begin to go, and I'll perceive the thing again. And it was a pastor. But of course, then I knew he was undergoing some very serious stress. So stress can make you to, if you are drinking before, to increase the consumption of alcohol or smoking. Or probably you have even stopped smoking when you gave your life to Christ. If you come under intense stress, do something to ease it up, you may find yourself going back to such habits. Now, effect of stress. What can stress cause? Depression, anxiety, chronic medical conditions such as cancer, hypertension, ulcer. Stress can lead to all these medical conditions and more. Physical somatization of symptoms. You shall be saying, you always find that something is always wrong with you. Even when they examine you medically and they say you are fit, you still be saying, it's a sign that you are under stress. Suicidal ideation. And you know it's also in the Bible. Elijah, after winning a battle on Mount Carmel, he came under stress because someone threatened him. That was an external thing threatening him. And look at that, I cannot confront this power. So when he got there under the juniper tree, he said, God, my life is not any better than that of my father. Take me. Extreme stress can push you to begin to toy with the idea of suicide. And if not, because stress will lead to depression. Once you become depressed, you are not too far away from suicide. Then stress will also weaken your immune system. That is why when you are under stress, you are susceptible to sicknesses. Little things, you are afflicted. Little things, you are infected. Because you see, the stress is actually a pressure on your immune system. So it will compromise your immune system. And once your immune system is not strong, malaria will easily come in. Typhoid will easily come in. Other medical conditions will easily come in. Because your body immune system that is supposed to fight this aggression from the outside is now weak because of stress. And stress can also lead to heart disease. So how do we manage stress now? I'm winding down now. Number one, identify warning signs. Identify warning signs. E.g., when you begin to realize that you are becoming tensed, you are clenching your teeth, you are grinding your teeth, you are beginning to have headache, or you are feeling irritable and short-tempered, you must know that kilo shele. You know there are times you shout on your wife and you have to say, kilo react better, and the next 5 minutes you are shouting on someone else. Kilo react better, you must know that how would I pay stress setting? The stress is getting at me. You must identify that. When you are able to identify it, be able to manage yourself. Then identify triggers. Triggers are those things that will cause the stress, the stressors. When you know the triggers, you can aim to anticipate them and practice calming yourself beforehand. For example, some people would feel stressed when they keep late nights. So she said, by the following day, they go out of stress too. If you are such a person, then you should know that anytime you work late into the night, you have to be extra careful to calm yourself. For a way to calm yourself. For some people, it is deadlines. when I have these deadlines to meet, deadlines to meet, then you realize, Martin, too many deadlines. Woman for many stress. What I do in that case, we'll get into it too. I'll just look at all those deadlines and ask myself, if I don't deliver this, what happens? Once I can realize that heaven will not fall, you may feel disappointed. And I always tell people, it pays me better to disappoint you than to disappoint myself. If I disappoint you, you forgive me if I beg you. But if I disappoint myself, I will live without regret for the rest of my life. For some people, the trigger could be seeing particular person. By the nature of that person, so if you know that, you avoid seeing that person. There are some people, you know when you see them, what is spoiled is your phone here. So you avoid seeing such people. Then you have to establish routines. Now these are practical things now. You have to establish routines for yourself. What time do I want to sleep? Establish that. Bedtime. Establish your bedtime. Establish when you want to wake up. Establish when you want to exercise and rest. Establish when you want to eat. Plan ahead to do particular jobs on set days of the week. Establish your routine so that you know on a daily basis, these are the things I do. This is when I wake up, this is when I go to bed, this is when I eat. You see, it's like you are ordering your life. When your life is ordered, your stress level will come down. You have to have routine. Don't just live life in a very haphazard manner. It may take you another 45 minutes to resolve. But if you have made up your mind that when I wake up, the morning, family altar, quiet time, blah, 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 before I leave for office, a cup of tea or a toast. And you keep doing it religiously. When I get to office, I do this, I do that. So you have to establish routine for yourself. The routine makes